Most Americans could probably recite the Pledge of Allegiance, but I wonder how many could name the person who wrote it or say when it was written. It turns out that there's a pretty interesting story behind it. So let's learn a little bit about the history of America's Pledge of Allegiance. The origins of the pledge are closely connected to both a popular youth magazine from the 1800s called The Youth's Companion and the 400th anniversary of Columbus's voyage to the New World. In 1888, the Youth's Companion magazine, which was established in 1827, had begun selling American flags, in hopes of promoting good old-fashioned patriotism by raising the stars and stripes, quote, over every public school from the Atlantic to the Pacific, and to salute it with an oath, plus making a nice little profit as well. The flag campaign also coincided with the 400th anniversary of Columbus's discovery of the Americas, and the Columbian Exposition to be held in Chicago. The pledge would be at the center of the opening ceremonies. The author of the pledge, Francis Bellamy, was a Baptist minister and a Christian socialist. He had some rather interesting views, a mixture of strong nativist attitudes and socialist ideals. Bellamy spoke out in support of the rights of the working class and labor unions and against the evils of capitalism, which is a bit ironic as he was strongly anti-immigrant, and many industrial workers and early labor union members just happened to be immigrants or second-generation Americans. He advocated for government ownership and control of industry in order to more equally distribute wealth in America. He believed in a strong public education system as a, quote, inoculation against the virus of foreigners. Francis Bellamy, like many other nativists in the late 1800s and early 1900s, believed that immigrant groups from Southern and Eastern Europe were inferior and could not assimilate without lowering our racial standard, and that every dull-witted or fanatical immigrant was a bane to the Commonwealth, that every alien immigrant of inferior race eroded traditional American values. But it wasn't his strong nativist opinions that brought conflict with his congregation. It was his liberal views on socialism. And in 1891, Bellamy took a job in the promotions department for the Youth's Companion magazine, hired by James B. Upham, a member of his former congregation. Over the next 2 years, Bellamy successfully lobbied Congress and President Benjamin Harrison to endorse a national public school ceremony for Columbus Day and the upcoming 400th anniversary. On June 29, 1892, Congress passed a joint resolution that endorsed the large-scale public school ceremony and directed Harrison to issue a proclamation which formalized the event and made the public school flag ceremony the center of the Columbus Day celebrations across the country. In his proclamation about the 400th anniversary of Columbus, Harrison stated that the system of universal education is in our age the most prominent and salutary feature of the spirit of enlightenment, and it is peculiarly appropriate that the schools be made by the people the center of the day's demonstration. Let the national flag float over every schoolhouse in the country, and the exercises be such as shall impress upon our youth the patriotic duties of American citizenship. Now, all they needed was a pledge to recite. The story goes that Bellamy wrote the pledge in just about 2 hours. These are the 23 words he wrote. I pledge allegiance to my flag, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bellamy explains, it was my thought that a vow of loyalty or allegiance to the flag should be the dominant idea. I especially stressed the word allegiance. Beginning with the new word allegiance, I first decided that pledge was a better school word than vow or swear, and that the first person singular should be used, and that my flag was preferable to the flag. Bellamy's pledge was personal, using I pledge and my flag while emphasizing allegiance to the Republic. He used one nation indivisible to emphasize the Union's stability following 4 years of civil war. According to Bellamy, all that pictured struggle reduced itself to 3 words: one nation indivisible. He had considered using the French phrase liberté, égalité, fraternité, but settled on liberty and justice for all. Bellamy believed that fraternity was too remote of realization, and that equality was a dubious word. Liberty and justice were surely basic, were undebatable, and were all that any one nation could handle if they were exercised for all. They involved the spirit of equality and fraternity. The Pledge of Allegiance appeared in print for the first time on September 8, 1892, when the Youth's Companion published the official program for the Columbus Day celebration in Chicago. Bellamy also wrote a set of instructions for what to do when reciting the pledge, because standing there doing nothing might be a bit odd. At a signal from the principal, the pupils, in ordered ranks, hands to the side, face the flag. Another signal is given. Every pupil gives the flag the military salute, right hand lifted, palm downward, to align with the forehead and close to it. Standing thus, all repeat together slowly. At the words, "To my flag," the right hand is extended gracefully, palm upward, toward the flag, and remains in this gesture till the end of the affirmation, whereupon all hands immediately drop to the side. The Bellamy Salute, as it was called, and the Pledge of Allegiance were performed by millions of school children across the country for the first time on the morning of October 21st, 1892, as part of the opening ceremonies for the Columbian Exposition. The pledge gained popularity, and in 1898, one day after the United States declared war on Spain, caught up in a wave of nationalism, the state of New York passed a law making the pledge mandatory in all public schools. Soon, other states followed, and the pledge became part of the school day. Bellamy believed that having school-age children recite a pledge would ensure that the distinctive principles of true Americanism will not perish as long as free, public education endures. In June of 1923, the National Flag Conference, sponsored by the American Legion and the Daughters of the American Revolution, changed some of the language of the pledge. My flag was changed to the flag of the United States, and the following year, of America was also added. This addition to the pledge was made in part to ensure that recent immigrants had the U.S. flag in mind, and not the flag of their nation of origin when making their pledge. 1942 was another big year for the pledge and the Bellamy Salute. In June of 1942, Congress officially recognized the pledge and added it to the official flag code. And in December, the Bellamy Pledge was amended, due to its similarities with the Nazi salute being used in Germany. The revised act of saluting the flag would be to place one's hand over the heart and eliminate the outstretched arm and raised hand to the flag. In 1954, as America and the Soviet Union continued their Cold War, the pledge was amended a final time. The words "under God" were added to distinguish the United States as the nation on God's side, while the Russians served as a godless communist government. President Eisenhower himself pushed for the phrase to be added, along with major support from the Knights of Columbus and other groups. Eisenhower said that, "In this way, we are reaffirming the transcendence of religious faith in America's heritage and future. In this way, we shall constantly strengthen those spiritual weapons which forever will be our country's most powerful resource in peace and war." Eisenhower signed the bill adding the words "under God" to the pledge on Flag Day, June 14, 1954, and released a statement celebrating that, "From this day forward, millions of our school children will daily proclaim in every city and town, every village and rural schoolhouse, the dedication of our nation and our people to the Almighty." In his 2005 book, To the Flag, The Unlikely History of the Pledge of Allegiance, historian Richard J. Ellis acknowledges that the oath is both paradoxical and puzzling, but admires the pledge's simple poetry, stating that the appeal of Bellamy's pledge is the statement of universal principles, which transcends the particular biases or agendas of the people who created it. Francis Bellamy went on to have a very successful career in advertising, but believed that the pledge was his biggest success, stating in 1923 that this little formula has been pounding away on the impressionable minds of children for a generation. Thanks for watching this video lesson, and I hope that you learned something.